Hey, Hillhawks. I'll be reading the Unit 7 Civil War quiz for you today. The answers will be shuffled, so they might not be in the same order, but the questions will be in the same order as I read them. I will give you 5 to 7 seconds in between each question to pause the recording so that you can respond to the question, then just resume the recording when you go to the next question. Number 1. Under the Kansas-Nebraska Act, who decided if slavery would be allowed in the new territories? Was it the people who voted in each territory? Was it the president? Was it members of Congress? Or was it territorial governors? Number 2. According to the Supreme Court ruling in Dred Scott v. Sanford, which statement is true? African Americans were not citizens, therefore they could not sue the government. Congress could ban slavery. Living in a free territory gave an enslaved person freedom, or only free African Americans could be citizens. Number 3. What was the main stance of the new Republican Party? Was it slavery should be legal? Was it every state should decide on slavery? Was it slavery should not be allowed to expand into territories? Or was it slavery should be illegal in the North and legal in the South? Number 4. How did John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry affect the country? Did it make the North and South closer together? Did it end slavery for all? Did it create an even deeper divide between the North and South? Or did it extend slavery throughout the whole country? Number 5. What happened almost immediately after Abraham Lincoln won the presidential election of 1860? Was slavery spread throughout the country? Did the South begin to secede from the United States, creating their own country? Did the tensions between the North and South end? Was slavery abolished across the country? Number 6. Read the quote below from Lincoln's inaugural address and answer the questions below. In your hands, my dissatisfied fellow countrymen, and not in mine, is the momentous issue of civil war. The government will not assail you. You can have no conflict without being yourselves the aggressors. You have no oath registered in heaven to destroy the government, while I shall have the most solemn one to preserve, protect, and defend it. Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address, March 4th, 1861. What was Lincoln telling the South with this quote? The South will no longer be able to have slaves? That the South can continue to have slaves? That he will allow the South to leave and there will be two separate countries? Or that he will do whatever it takes to keep the country together and not allow the South to secede? Number 7. Which event officially started the Civil War between the United States and the Confederate States? Was it the bombardment of Fort Sumter? Was it the Battle of Vicksburg? Was it Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation? Or was it the Battle of Gettysburg? Number 8. Which of these was a Northern advantage at the start of the Civil War? Was it fighting in familiar territory? Was it abundant natural resources? Was it control of the Mississippi River? Or was it lots of agriculture to feed soldiers? Number 9. Which of these was a Southern advantage at the start of the Civil War? Was it many factories and businesses? Was it control of the railway system? Was it strong military leadership? Or was it a large population? Number 10. The Union's Anaconda Plan included all of the following strategies except capturing Richmond, Virginia, dividing the South, assassinating the Confederate president, or blocking the southern ports. Number 11. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation declared that enslaved people in the U.S. territories were free, enslaved people in Confederate states were free, enslaved people throughout the world were free, or enslaved people in the Union slave states were free. Number 12. Why was the Battle of Gettysburg a turning point in the war? Was it the outcome convinced European nations to aid the Confederacy? Was it the loss of troops convinced Lee to never again invade the North? Was it Lee succeeded in capturing a city in the North? Or was it the South suffered many losses while the North had few? Number 13. Which of these describes Grant's terms of surrender at Appomattox Courthouse? They were stern in their demand for payment losses. They were meant to show that the North sought forgiveness. They were meant to punish the Confederacy. They were generous so as to avoid further suffering. Number 14. Which statement best describes the importance of the Battle of Vicksburg? Was it the Confederacy captured military supplies from the North? Was described as the bloodiest fighting of the Civil War? Was it the opening engagement of the Civil War in the South? Or was it the Confederacy lost control of the Mississippi River? Number 15 is your last question, and it requires an essay. Answer the following question with 4 to 6 sentences using evidence you learned during the unit. The question you will be answering: was the Union justified in invading the Confederacy?